Welcome here tonight to this lovely Tuesday evening. Thank you so much for joining us here at the UEA here for some sorry, my brain doesn't want to work. Unified Advanced League action. We are into week number 4, and tonight we have a lovely matchup. We have Dragonclaw Cloud versus Mad City OG. Of course, you know who I am. You know who we are here. My name is Orbital. With me is Random Minion Caster RMC. How you doing today?
Doing good. When I was prepping for the games today, Orbital, I had to take a double take because we just cast Mad City last week, but that was Mad City wildcard. We've got another Mad City team here, the OG squad actually, and these guys are veterans. They play in the league, I believe, 4 splits, maybe 5 at this point here. They've been all over the place. They got, I believe, second in their first split, quarters in their second. They didn't even make it out of groups in their third, and then they got third place last split as well. So, very, very experienced team. And up against them was an exciting newcomer here, Dragonclaw Cloud. And they are a new team to UAL. They're a new team, period. But they haven't dropped a game so far. So they're 6-0 right now, game score-wise. So tonight should be a pretty feisty one.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty entertaining as much as we hope. So Mad City OG currently sitting at 2-1. So this is a battle to see if Dragonclaw Cloud are able to retain their throne, or if Mad City OG will dethrone them, per se. Now, of course, remember, we are not into the next patch, so unfortunately, Akshan will not be fought over, but I think we still have a few very fun picks, some of them coming out of the meta, some of them dipping back away from the meta. I mean, is there anyone that you feel that we should see prominently, RMC, or is it still going to be pretty meta standard?
I think both these teams play fairly meta for the most part, so expect to see maybe some Enchanter bans coming through. Lulu Karma both still very strong. Gwen Viego, broken as ever here. Xin Sao, premier jungle pick as well. Potentially something that we'll see taken off the table. Despite the fact that 11.14 feels like it's run for quite a while, Orbital, I have mixed feelings about 11.15 coming in. The changes are small for the most part, but Akshan, I'm not looking for the champion coming into the game here. It feels like all the champions that Riot's been releasing recently are a little bit overtuned when they come out.
Hey, listen, I'm okay reading a book on how to play like one ability. I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, reading is good for you. Reading is good for you. The problem is when they have 7 abilities crammed into 4, and you're wondering how the heck a revive ability of potentially an entire team got slapped onto a basic ability. Then again, I'm a mid laner, so if I get it, I get it, and good luck. We'll have some fun with that. But all right, let's be honest. That champion is a little bit, yeah. I tried to hype it up, but I have a feeling there might be some nerfs coming in here.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, revive Karthus. Maybe it makes a comeback. Teleport Smite Karthus in the jungle plus Akshan in the mid lane. Hopefully not here. Now, we do have to focus a little bit on the teams today. Mad City OG on the blue side for game 1 here. Dragonclaw Cloud on the red side. So on this current patch, blue side seems to be having a slight edge with the amount of OP picks up and available. Wouldn't be surprised to see some of the OPs make it through, and Mad City will get their first pick, whereas Dragonclaw Cloud, they'll get counter pick. I'm curious to see which lane they want to give it to. Elated as well as Stretfa, their top and mid laners here for the side of Dragonclaw Cloud have been huge lane carries for the most part.
Yep, it's been hopefully a continuing trend or something maybe that they can swap up whenever they need to. But of course, we are into the pick ban phase. We have Mad City OG on the blue side, Dragonclaw Cloud on the red, and of course, we already have some of the OPs taken off the table. You have the Karma and the Lee Sin banned away so far by Mad City OG. On the flip side, the LeBlanc and the Xin Zhao are both taken off the table. LeBlanc, of course, being one of those almost sleeper mid lane champions that has slowly snuck up in the meta, becoming somewhat of a prominent AP champion.
Yeah, and it's because she's just so safe and she does so much damage. She scales well as well. I mean, the Distort allows you to poke as an assassin. Feels a little bit overloaded in terms of what she can do right now, and it's just a numbers tuning. Most of the bans here so far fairly standard. We talked about the fact Enchanters might get banned. Lee Sin's an interesting one specifically against Dragonclaw because I don't know if Stretfa and Elated play it as much. That feels more like a DC Jumper specific champion. So it feels like they're hitting the jungle champion pool a little bit. And when you combine that with the Xin Zhao, with the Diana ban, I don't know what else Jumper has in the kit. We've only seen the Xin Zhao, Lee Sin, and Sejuani so far, but I feel like Sejuani is a bit more of a niche jungle pickup here.
Yeah, it's just one of those that you play when you might be getting a little bit pinched, right? And so far, I don't think anyone's been pinched that hard, and we see the champions coming out. Both Yordles coming out for the opening picks. First is the Lulu, Mad City OG. On the flip side, we do see that Ziggs being locked in for that potential mid or APC role in the bot side. So we're going to have to see where that one goes, but still a very safe blind pick. Viego going to be followed up behind.
I mean, Gwen is still open as well. We often see Viego and Gwen sort of being traded back and forth. But I do want to touch on the Lulu because Karma got banned, Lulu got picked up, right? And we're talking about Enchanter supports. Another interesting thing is that for Mad City OG's support here, or for their previous support, I should say, Might of Meek, Lulu was sort of the go-to champion, but they do have a bit of a shuffle in their bot lane right now. Jiggity will not be their AD carry, will actually be their support for this game. And they've got a new AD carry, Blueberry, coming in here. So we've actually not seen Jiggity play the Lulu. It's a bit of a deny away from Lucky Fam as well, who has also played a lot of Lulu, a lot of Thresh. And once again, you know, they're targeting these more played champions that we've seen come out from Dragonclaw.
Yep. Well, something that has been played a little bit more is that Gwen, and then the Ashe to follow. So a very support utility heavy support coming out, followed by what feels like a not so aggressive ADC, but of course we'll let the lane speak for itself. The set coming out very front loaded for Dragonclaw Cloud.
Yeah, and Set being picked up here is most likely as a counter to that Gwen, if Gwen does show up in a lane here. Set is a fairly versatile pick. I mean, you can flex around support, mid, top, all of it works here. And if that Gwen doesn't go into the jungle, Set can beat up the Gwen fairly early. Even later on the game, has a lot of utility, you know, with that showstopper as well. You can really mess up a Gwen trying to engage. And when you see a Lulu Ashe, you know that Gwen's probably going to be the primary carry coming in later into the game. Looks like we have a bit of a missed ban coming through from Dragonclaw Cloud here.
Yep, they are not going to be able to get that one, and it looks like it is due to a technicality. They will not have their last two bans of this current phase, so Dragonclaw Cloud will have to not be allowed to ban away some key picks that they may have been waiting for here. That does allow Mad City OG to have a little bit more of an opening, a little bit more leeway for what they want to do. The Zillion being picked up and banned, a little bit interesting, but not, I wouldn't say out of the realm of possibility.
And I like what Mad City is doing here with their bans, right? Because we look at what Dragonclaw has, and technically anyone can go anywhere. Nobody's really locked out of a particular position yet. The set can still flex the support position. Ziggs could be mid, could be AP carry in the bot lane. You don't know, so you can't really target here. And because you can't do that, what they're trying to do here is you ban out the support pool so that suddenly Lucky Fam doesn't have a lot of comfort picks. Maybe you have to default to that set. And if you take that set into the support role here, then Gwen gets to go into the lane here without really necessarily the hardest matchup. Now, Dragonclaw does have counter pick, so they will always have that option, even if they do have to flex support set to support.
Yep. Just always that opportunity is lurking in the back of their minds. 10 seconds left on Mad City OG, and they are going to ban out the Bard. So a hard focus here on the bot side, taking away some of the setup potential that could be there with the Bard. You know, don't want that ultimate coming down and stasising everyone.
Yeah, honestly, I like the Bard ban. The Zillion one just feels like you're targeting at that point because nothing on the side of Dragonclaw right now screams we need a Zillion necessarily, right? You don't need that revive. Viego, sure, good to revive him maybe, but I don't know if he's necessarily going to be that huge hyper carry for your team. We do see the Nautilus pick up paired here, most likely with that Ziggs. And we're starting to see a really tanky front line form for Dragonclaw Cloud here, and they're probably going to be looking for a mid lane pickup most likely, and Ziggs in the bot side.
Yep, just a classic pair, to say the least. The Graves, though, being hovered here. It's been a little bit since I think we've seen Graves really coming out. It is going to be locked in. That should go to Castle on Mad City OG's side, which is, I think, one that he plays quite a bit.
Yeah, it's his most played jungler recently in solo queue. So obviously very, very polished on it. And Graves on this patch received a small buff to the base damage. Really, it's just 280. It doesn't feel like a lot, but he was already in a fairly decent spot, just not meta. And now he is buffed up. He can really power clear that jungle, get into the lanes, get the poke down as well. And when you see what their composition has, they kind of need it, right? Like Ashe is sort of an early game champion. The poke is good, but into a Ziggs, not necessarily the best enabler here. Ziggs can wave clear, can shove out as well, and you don't have a ton of kill threat necessarily till level 6. So you do want somebody who can help out your lanes quite a bit, and it also does mean that Lulu is not going to be a support. It's going to be one of the solo lanes here, as we did see the Braum locked in.
Yep. And I mean, that's one way to utilize the Ashe. It's an OG combo for an OG team, right? It's a combination that's well known as being slowing, as being annoying,
Mhm.
consistently keeping your opponent in place. And I think that actually works very well against something like a Ziggs and Nautilus, two champions that outside of a satchel are not really going to be able to stave off a slow push into them, right? But the Orianna last pick here, this is going to be Orianna versus Lulu, which I feel is going to be one of the most boring and uneventful mid lanes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Hey, maybe we see a switch up here. Maybe the Gwen goes mid against the Ori. Probably not. But yeah, unfortunately, Lulu is a bit of a lane bully. So the Orianna into the Lulu, I like that pickup. It nullifies a lot of that early game strength from the Lulu there. And then you reduce that Lulu just to an enchanter role. You're really putting the weight of the carry onto this Gwen, onto this Ashe, and maybe onto the Graves if you can get in early here. But I want to go back to this bot lane once again, Orbital, because Braum Ashe into Nautilus Ziggs. Originally, if you just look at the Ziggs and Ashe matchup, it's just going to be a poke war, right? Both sides just wave clearing. It's not a ton of kill pressure. You see the Nautilus come through and like, okay, maybe there's a little bit of kill pressure on that Ashe. She is fairly immobile, but you put that Braum in and it changes everything now because Nautilus has to be careful. Ziggs early game doesn't have very much damage. You do need that sort of one item to really start to come online. Your wave clear isn't exactly great before you pick up a tier either. So mAAd City actually have control of this bot side and a lot of kill threat onto Lucky Fam on this Nautilus here. Once the slows start to come down, rain down on this Nautilus, like you said, not really great at escapes. You're relying very heavily on Dredge line to go out, and that means that you don't get a lot of chance to be aggressive unless a Squip can land a ton of poke first onto this Braum, onto this Ashe.
Yeah, and in that scenario itself, again, still giving that advantage a little bit over to Ashe and Braum. Well, let's talk about if Viego heads down, right? These are two junglers that are hungry for the early kills, hungry for that advantage in the early stage. If you were to put something like a 3-on-3, then how do you think it balances out? How do you think it would pan out for these bottom lane and the junglers?
For DC Jumper here on the Viego, it's a bit of a risky proposition trying to gank this bot lane. Braum Ashe have so much peel, and you've just kind of got that one, maybe two gap closer if you use the Heartbreaker to close the distance. And after that, you kind of don't have anything in the tank. So either you burst down the Ashe immediately or you're done. Against the Graves, it's kind of hard as well because of the True Grit passive and the spacing that Graves just has. You just throw down the smoke screen, kind of dash away, and suddenly Viego can't get in there. So rather than the bot lane, I would much rather DC Jumper look at the top lane. We already talked about the Gwen set, the fact that Set can go toe-to-toe with that Gwen. And this is before Gwen's skip and slash is going to get nerfed. Her attack speed is still fairly strong at that level 1, level 2. Set can go toe-to-toe with her. And Viego can ignore the Hallowed Mist. You're also a melee champion. So you walk in there, there's so much kill threat. Viego does usually seem to win out that 1v1, much less a 2v1 situation. So I'd much rather see Viego spend your attention top, leave your Ziggs alone, let him wave clear. He just wants to scale.
Yep. Just give him the ability to do so, focus on some other lanes, and see how well you can play it from there. Now, of course, we will go to a very short break to ensure the teams have ample time and we're able to give you a quality broadcast. So we will be right back in just a few minutes as we get set for the first game between mAAd City OG and Dragonclaw Cloud. Back, of course, bringing you some action right from the Rift. So let's go ahead and run down the players that we have gracing the stream today. First off, on the blue side, we have Mad City OG and Nominate in the top lane, Castle in the jungle role, Mark Boots in mid, Blueberry 4 coming out in the ADC role because the first 3 blueberries did not make it, and Jiggity at support.
It's different versions, man. They've got to compete with, Apple and Android over here. And on the red side, we do have ourselves a Dragonclaw Cloud with Elated in the top lane, Birthday Boy, DC Jumper in the jungle here, Stretpa in the mid lane, a Squip as AP carrying the bot lane, and Lucky Fam as his support.
Yep. I feel like we shouldn't sing Happy Birthday because it's about as bad as if we were to try to all sing along with Rhythm Bot. I don't know if people have heard that, but it's such a horrible, horrible desync if you actually try and sing over it. So we will not sing Happy Birthday, but we will say Happy Birthday to him. And of course, a great birthday present would of course be a victory here, tacking on their 4th consecutive win. And at that, a 2-0. That would be, what, 8 games in a row that you could lock down, pretty much securing 1st or 2nd place in your division.
And I'm sure the rest of the team is going to be more than happy to try. I want to see them try and gift DC Jumper a pentakill here. That I feel like would be the ultimate gift. That's it. They don't really have a cake. They do have a candle, though. Well, they've got fire in the bot lane, at least. Zig's going to be able to toss out those bombs here. I feel like every time they throw a Mega Inferno bomb, they should just scream Happy Birthday in their chat.
I would not want to hear that voice comm, like, at all, right? It's just like, everyone, yeah, happy, and you're just, no. But we already see, in the top side, a little bit of aggression, or I should say a lot, between Nominate and Elated. You saw, of course, the just straight up bullying that Elated could do. You were talking about it, but level 2 from Nominate means that the aggression is for the Gwen.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, that's just the level lead, right? The moment set hits 2, you're fine. Even the shield right now.
Oh!
There you go. Like, that's your set matchup, right? The moment he hits 2, he's ready to go. He's going to pop that damage down, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Gwen needs roughly 2 full items to really start going toe-to-toe with set here. So, in Nominate, that's the price you pay when you don't run flash.
That has to hurt, and now we see a turn on the bottom side. The stuns are going to come out and actually deal quite a bit of damage. Lucky Fam tried to aggress on Blueberry, but immediately paid the price.
Yeah, and you can see right now in the bot lane, this is how it's always going to go. Unless you've got the burst damage to go toe-to-toe with this Ashe here, the moment your burst is done, they're just going to keep running you down. They keep poking you down. And right now, Zig's early game, you just don't have the damage. This is a tier Zig start, right? He's trying to get enough mana to be able to sustain through the early laning phase. You're not here to fight this out, and you need to land more bombs first.
Yep, gotta land a few more, make sure the poke goes down, especially since you didn't run Satchel, which I think Satchel, coming from someone that's played Ziggs a little bit, it feels like Satchel is the best way to disengage a battle that is elongated, right? In a situation where you know the Ashe is going to auto attack you, you want her as far away as possible, as quickly as possible once you dump the damage, right?
Yeah, I mean, just to CC, they go in, poke with it. And hey, if you can catch maybe Braum with it as well, extra damage, why not here? We did see a bit of a recall coming through from Squip and Lucky Fam here. And I was a bit surprised to see that when they had DC Jumper on the bot side kind of ready to go. And now they've given control over this bot lane to Blueberry, to Jiggity, who have tried to set up a freeze here. It's not really a perfect freeze. It probably won't hold very long, but they are just trying to buy time, hold things out here, make sure that they don't expose themselves to potential ganks from this Viego.
And like you said as well, the Viego, I mean, you wouldn't really expect the Viego to be looking down on the bot side, right? Jumper is probably going to be looking on that top. We already saw a first blood go the way of Elated in the mid lane, right? You have Stretfa and Mark Boots that are constantly dueling each other out. I mean, they went pretty aggressive items starting out, right? You take a look at their item pockets right now. You have Corrupting Potions for Stretfa and then a Darksteel plus refillables. Like, that screams, I want to attack over and over again.
Yeah, well, they're out of pot. They're out of stacks on that pot, though. So I don't know if Stretfa can play aggressively whatsoever here. And Mark Boots, yeah, you don't have kill threat. That said, top side once again here. There is a control ward up top, and DC Jumper has snuck into the bush here. The lane will push out if Elated just leaves it alone. So it's a question of how long Jumper's going to sit up here.
Bot lane, couple auto attacks go down. Jiggity eats a tower shot. Ooh. And that's going to be the trade pattern there. Remember, Squib does have TP, so if he wants to return back to lane, it'll be fairly easy. But Jumper spending a little bit too much time, I feel, on the top side, because you can actually see Castle completely clearing out the bot side of this jungle, and that's gonna be the jump in. A little bit of an auto attack trade pattern, and Nominate is gonna try and walk away, but can't make it happen. Bot side, we're seeing a fight break out as well. And that is going to be the kill. Now Squib has to run away. That's going to be smoke screen down, flash in to the battle. A couple auto attacks are going to go down and the draw in. They win the fight. Are you kidding me? Squib and Lucky fam, Lucky, true to the name. They pull out with a 4-0 across the board.
No, that wasn't luck. That was skill from Lucky there. The perfect turnaround as well. That was pretty much a max range dredge line to yank Blueberry under that turret, and it's the right target. It's the squishier target. If they had Castle wouldn't have gone down. And now we're 4-0 in favor of Dragonclaw right now. Jumper still not done topside. Another control ward goes down. They want to make sure that Inominat doesn't even get to play the game.
We thought this was going to be a little bit slower, but it's getting ridiculous. That's going to be a jump in. Shield is up into the auto attacks, and Nominate is actually going to pick up the kill. DC Jumper is going to fall down here. That's the last tower shot. Mark Boots is allowed to pick it up, so a little bit too harsh on the tower dive, but it still comes out, I feel, with lane pressure to Elated and Jumper.
Yeah, but they are going to lose Dragon off the back end of this, right? You spent so much attention to the top lane, and the dive goes wrong here. You're still not strong enough, tanky enough to try and do that. And DC Jumper, the Heartbreaker just wasn't available to be used in that. Very, very unfortunate. If they had the burst, maybe they kill the Gwen. But they didn't, and they lose both. And now suddenly, Inominat's back in the game. Mark Boots back in the game. They are pushed off the Dragon, so Castle doesn't get the Drake right now. It's still up. 7 minutes. We still got time for this.
Yeah, this is... It was like my brain just goes back thinking maybe they just overthought it a bit on the top side, right? But they definitely didn't lose as much as they could have. So we'll see if that top lane actually rotates back in favor of Nominate. Again, only was able to pick up 1 kill, right? Wasn't a kill and assist, wasn't 2 kills because Mark Boots actually jumped in and took a kill from the mid lane. So that's kind of nice. Still, big question marks that we want to watch for. Big ideas, and that's going to be Lucky Fam actually getting locked down. That's going to be the concussive blows connecting. A little bit of a rotate right back in, and yeah, Castle's going to go straight for it. TP is not going to charge him off. Squid's going to walk back. Shockwave is going to land. Still going to be the kill. Shutdown. Going over to the Grays. Now he is going to pay as DC Jumper picks up his 3rd of the game.
Still 1 for 2. And if you're mad, you take that. You're happy. You won that trade. Stretfa kind of low as well, so they can't push on this here. The problem is Jiggity did survive, but is low. So it's not like either team can really turn for the Dragon yet, and things are getting real dicey here, Orbital. This bot lane is answering back really well, and Blueberry is up 20 CS as well. So that is a strong point here for Mad City.
Ooh, the needlework coming out of a Nominate, really trying to trade back on this top side. And I hate drawing the attention up there because it's always so questionable. But now Mark Boots stuck in the middle of multiple rocks, just not going to enjoy what happens here. That is going to hurt. Lucky Fam picks it up with the Ignite.
Yeah, not the one you'd want to give that one over to there, but you know, it is what it is here. And I think DC Jumper, did he have the out available? Not quite sure there. Unfortunate. They will, however, get some poke onto this mid lane turret, and surely now Orbital will see Dragon come into sight. That was a clean win by Dragonclaw.
Yes, it was, but now Castle is here for a low retribution. Glacial Fissure goes down. Top lane is going to be all eyes up top. Elated and Nominate are actually going to disengage. Arrow comes straight down the goalpost. Would have been a field goal, but in League, field goals don't really count. No one dies across the board, and Nominate is now forced to run back to his own tower.
Dragon died, Orbital. Jumper focused the objective, and I applaud him for that. Didn't get caught up in the kills. Cloud Drake, like I've said before, I like it as one of the first Drakes of the game because it's most impactful early. Kind of falls off later on, especially if you've only got one here. So taking it early, especially with the big ultimates they have, right? Mega Inferno Bomb, Depth Charge, Shockwave we've not seen really hit too hard yet, but these are big ultimates that will come into play later, and this is how Dragonclaw wants to play. They are looking for the team fights, get some poke down the Ziggs first, and then you send in your Nautilus, send in your set with the ball delivery system, chunk them out right away. And even if they have a Lulu, they're going to be so low by the end of it that you can just sweep on in here. So they're going to be more than happy with that pickup.
Yeah, with kind of the back and forth aggression, I want to kind of get your opinion here. We thought it was going to be a little bit slower game, right? But it has accelerated. We can't deny that. It has accelerated to a, I want to say a small pace, as Castle is going to go ahead and take out that Rift. Rift Herald, he's going to try, and it's stolen! Stolen away by Strefa. Now the rest of the team is going to try and come in. Shockwave is going to land. They're going to go ahead and lock down Castle. Castle is going to be broken, and Nominate is going to dash over the wall, and that is a steal of steals that Dragonclaw Cloud are going to be very happy about.
Strefa used the smite, did not have it ready for that Herald. So when he saw Elated poking his head in, it was kind of a ruh-roh situation. And now Mark Boots, you're in trouble as well.
They pulled one tower dive off. It didn't end too well, but this one's a little bit squishier. They're going to use a Heartbreaker. Mark Boots doesn't really have anything, but no one helped tank for DC Jumper. Remember, you aren't able to get really that far out. One more tower shot would have done it, but that is going to be the safety ult out, and Jumper survives to play another game.
Yeah, I mean, you picked that Lulu as an enchanter for the shields there. Jumper picked it for the same reason, because the shields from Ori and Lulu barely got him out. That wasn't the cleanest dive. Lucky Fam barely got involved in the fight because he was tanking it first. Jumper almost died as well, but it's good enough. And the gold lead's starting to grow. 4K gold lead right now. And if we toggle the gold, you can already see that Mark Boots starting to fall behind quite a bit in lane, top side as well. In Nominat is quite far behind, almost 2,000 gold at this point. And Jumper, you're only 600 up from Castle, but you're up enough to be able to dive these solo laners and get away scot-free.
Yeah. The only one that you can really look at to say, hey, maybe there is a glimmer of hope right now, it feels like his Blueberry, right? 111 farm to 89, 1-1-1. Not amazing, but this is also how you give him a little bit better lead. That's going to be a jump in. Glacial Fissure is going to land on Squip on the back line, but Lucky Fam is really the one that they want. He flashes out to safety, and the teleport is going to charge it all off. Now Mark Boots is going to get drawn in. No flash on the Lulu. Wild Growth is going to go up, but a couple more auto attacks will chunk them out as Strefa takes out Mark Boots. Bottom side, it looked like Elated didn't want to chance it and is not going to use the showstopper, so just a teleport to kind of keep his team safe.
Yeah, and you're giving a Nominate a bit more space to grow, but that's fine. You don't want to lose this bot side, which, as we've already identified, is sort of the one winning lane for Mad City. And I think Mad made the right call by going for that bot lane play. The issue is that Mark Boots needs to know and understand that you're vulnerable. And if you don't see DC Jumper there, there's a chance he's on you. Castle trying to get the rip buff will be denied. And frankly, I don't know how deep you want to go. Elated was waiting in the wings.
Yep. Just always making sure that you know who's there, and Strefa goes ahead, needs a little bit of an ulti charge, and is going to go ahead and get right back out. And this Orianna is doing an Orianna's job, which is just hold the line, really just hold that wave.
Yeah, I'd say doing a little bit better is just holding it there. You're up 40 CS, and more importantly, you're faster to the rotations, which is key for this mid lane matchup. Lulu needs to be there to buff people up, and if Orianna's always going to be there first, we've seen that Mark Boots is struggling to get to whoever he needs to shield, whoever he needs to wild growth quick enough. And usually by the time you get there, they're already half dead, and your shield is not going to help them fight. It's going to help them survive, but they're not inputting any damage into the fight here. So really, really well played from Strefa. And for Dragonclaw, they just need to continue this. There's no rush here. They do scale very, very well. So they just look for these objectives. Dragons come in 30 seconds. They go there. They leave Elated in the lane. Mad City, though, They need to try and force something a little bit more here, make some sort of play to make sure they don't keep falling behind. You can give up this dragon, you can give up second, but you can't give up third.
Yep. And we are wondering what it is going to be at the very end because of the question of, hey, you know, this is going to be an ocean dragon. I want to see what the soul is. Everyone does. DC Jumper's like, nah, I don't really care. I'm going to chase for kills. We're going to see what it comes down to. So everyone is here except for the Orianna. Orianna does have teleport though, so Stretfa could easily turn it into a 5-on-4. And Namina is still waiting for their teleport. So I think this is going to be safely Dragonclaw Clouds.
Yeah, there's no vision here. The control ward cut all the vision in the pit, so you can see that Mad City, they're kind of like, okay, let's just show our faces and then back off. Like we said, there's no need to kill yourselves over the second Drake here. Stabilize things a little bit, and they're trying to set up an ambush with Castle here. It is elated, so this would be a 3-on-1.
Yep, and they're going to go ahead, throw out the ultimates, and it should keep elated in place. The shield is only going to do so much. Heals up quite a bit, but again, the concussive blows are just too strong. And you got the kill on the right person this time. Blueberry picks up his second.
Good pick, and that's the strength we're talking about in lane. From that Braum Ash combo, once you get tagged by something, you ain't getting away. Your flash gets you distance, but unless it gets you to safety immediately, they will just run you down. And I want to see them continue to rotate all of these, this Braum, this Ash to other places. It's such great pick potential in Nomina. Might have gotten a little greedy there.
Yeah, it's gonna be taken away. And unfortunately, Namina is just like, come on, like we're losing. We're losing a lot of stuff here. Can we do something about it? But of course, the rest of the team is farming up on the other side. I think Graves went ahead, cleared out 3 camps, while Dragonclaw were going ahead and grabbing 1. So we'll see if that nets him any sort of advantage.
And with the amount of attention that Dragonclaw is putting to the top side, Herald spawns in 30 seconds. They better be all over that, because they're trying to close the game out, grab more leads here, and it does look like they're stalling out a little bit as they're heading towards those second-tier turrets. It's not the worst for them. Like I said, they do scale with the Ziggs, with the Viego, and Ori's always nice as well, but you just don't want to be giving the side of Mad City too many avenues, and they played the game so well early. They got such a big lead. You want to be accelerating that. Mad City, breakpoint's not quite hit yet. Nomina, still no mythic coming through for this Gwen. And the Gwen's who I'm really watching for. Your Ashe is great initiate, but you kind of half utility here. Castle's already got the Gale Force. He's running fairly on par with his counterpart here. Just needs to go back and spend a little bit to catch up. And Mark Boots, you're an Enchanter. You bought Shirelia's. Your job is done.
Yep, that's it. And that's why I feel like it didn't mean too much if Mark Boots fell behind. It's more about who got the gold from the kills, right? Who was the one that was able to stack up, and it went to Jumper, right? Jumper is doing a fine job sitting there with that Divine Thunder, already has the plated steel caps and following through with the Vampiric plus the pickaxe, so building straight into those extra strong items. But now we go ahead with that second Rift Herald down. A lot of options now opening up. You had the mid lane and the top side of that both need to be knocked down already. Both towers have actually barely been touched in the current standings. So a lot of options for the side of Mad City OG to take. But they need to make a decision fast because the late is having a fantastic time here on the bot side.
I'm just confused how Mad City was allowed to get that there. I mean, we talked about the fact that Dragonclaw had all the control. Lucky Fam is really going in on this.
Yeah, and I mean, why not? That's the Mega Inferno Ball coming down, and the Heartbreaker to finish it off. However, you did grab Braum's shield, so I don't think he can really chase off Stretfa's there for a little bit of backup.
Yeah, and Stretfa TP'd to try and get that flank, choke off any chance of them trying to make any plays there. So good for them. Castle will barely survive, but he's out of this defense here, and it's just going to be Blueberry trying to defend this mid lane turret. I don't know if they necessarily have enough damage. The wave clear from Ashe is pretty strong at this point of the game right now, and Ziggs still not the greatest at sieging at this point. If it's low, he can take it, but it's still pretty healthy, so probably won't find that one.
Gonna let it just rest there. You did your job, and again, bottom lane is now going to go down elated. Is actually going to back off, says, hey, I got enough from that tower. I don't need to worry about too much else. But yes, I agree. I think at this point, Dragonclaw Cloud, I've kind of realized, hey, we don't want to push the tempo too much. We don't want to get caught out. We don't want to have another situation like top lane where you try and go for something a little bit too risky and you end up losing 2 lives in 1 and giving that advantage back. Because Mad City OG, even though they are not the 3-0 perfect record, they are still a fearsome foe to be dealt with.
Oh, bro, we're getting a bit of a camera shot of this top lane in the bot lane right now. And I want to point out that Riftmaker is completed on a mAAd. And that definitely changes this up. Normally, I think it takes about 2 items for the Gwen to really start to handle that set. But now at least you've got sustain. You can look to try and trade with the set here. And it is a bit of a stat check we might start seeing come through here.
And we're seeing that fight on the bottom side. Showstopper straight backwards. Wow. A little draw in. Denominate realizing that's a little bit too much damage that they're not going to enjoy. Can't use the shockwave just yet, and that's going to draw it in. Denominate staying alive for a little while longer, but can't. That is ridiculous. Are you kidding me? Denominate, you can't do him like that.
I mean, Elena needs to respect the damage. He got greedy trying to go back in, and Squip barely sidesteps that. Might not be able to hold the turret, though. Will go down. And the question is, can you find anything on the back end of this? Doesn't look like it. The slows from Braum, Lulu, and Ashe all playing their part. You do, however, lose priority on the Dragon, and Dragonclaw should be able to pick up their 3rd Dragon of the game. This is the one I wanted to see mAAd contest.
Yep, it's going to be a nice one, as of course it is slowly taken down. But remember, look on the other side. We do see the pings going down. Baron should be up in 2 seconds. They're not going to take it, obviously, right off of spawn. But it is an option. And you saw how fast Castle and the rest of the squad could push and rotate. It's starting to come to fruition. This composition that the side of Mad City OG have built is starting to threaten certain aspects of the game. It's not great, right? It's not the easiest win condition, but it is definitely there.
Yeah, it feels like Mad City, you know, they put a little bit of a whole bunch of things in there. You have the ability to team fight, but you're not going to be as good at it as against Dragonclaw. You've got better split push, but that takes a long time to come online. You've got better rotations with the Lulu as well. So a little bit of everything. And right now, I think they're looking here at the sort of rotation split push part of their composition. And Nominat, though, might have split pushed a little bit too far.
Yep, and that's going to be the Heartbreaker jumping in. Shockwave is going to land, and that is the kill. Stretfa picks up his 4th of the game. This Orianna starting to come online a little bit faster with the Ludens in tow.
Yeah, and that, frankly, is just a Nominat split pushing without vision, right? You look at the wards right now, the ward situation bot side, absolutely dark. There's nothing blue there except the Nominat's corpse, and you cannot do that if you're going to split push. You need to set up the vision first, and then you look for that. Without that ability to split push right now, Mad then have to team fight. And we already spoke about the fact they don't necessarily win the team fights. It's been Dragonclaw winning all of those right now. It's been the occasional pick coming out from Mad City. And so I think you focus on that. You double down on these picks instead. I don't know how much longer they have. Like you said, Orbital, Baron's on the table, and Vision is starting to be set up here by Dragonclaw Cloud.
Yeah, took them a little bit because they are more focused on the Dragon, and I can't blame them. Right, Infernal on Ziggs is phenomenal. Yeah. It feels so good. Every bomb takes out half to at least 3/4 health on any ADC. You are a happy Ziggs playing with those bombs. And then follow through on the rest of the champions, right? Elated is now going to be able to duel whoever he wants. He lost to a Nominate last time. It's going to be drastically different this time around. So in about 2 minutes 45 seconds, it is going to be that all-important Drake, but we are going to get the fight. Heartbreaker out. Glacial Fissure is going to be used. Does hit the Nautilus in the back line, but they're going to use the Showstopper, bring him all the way in. They're going to try and dogpile. A little bit late on the TP. TP is going to land, but the Needlework is doing so much work. The Choke Point is going to draw 2 in. Shockwave into Mega Inferno Bomb is going to drop the health bars of Mad City OG. They're going to go ahead and get cleaned up. 2 members die, and the rest scatter, as that is going to be Dragonclaw Cloud going ahead and picking up the 1st Baron of the game.
Well, Nominat still has TP here, and Blueberry, Mark Boots, they're trying to poke TP, coming back in. Baron at 4,000, 3,000 here.
It is so low. Lucky Fam going to sacrifice himself to the enemy team. They do pick it up. Now, what more can they get? Another Haymaker is going to keep them all alive, but look at Blueberry. Shields. Blueberry staying alive for a little bit longer. That's going to be a jump in, though. That is the soul stolen away, and that is the kill. Squip picks up Blueberry, and the soul is stolen once again. Jumper with the Heartbreakers is able to stave off any further deaths.
That was close, Orbital. For a second, it looked like they're going to be able to turn that. Riftmaker healing for a Nominat, plus the shielding coming out from Mark Boots. Wild Growth was not used. Now, I don't know if that just came off cooldown right after the fight, but if it did, that's very, very unfortunate. They actually had a chance at turning it. There's not any healing cut really built whatsoever on the side of Dragonclaw, so that tanky, that sort of sustain coming out from that Gwen is going to be an issue. But now with Baron, we've already seen them kind of take their own sweet time pushing. With Baron, that isn't the case anymore. We talked about the fact that Squip does need the turrets kind of low before you can take them, but you do get to siege up in a minute. When that Inferno comes up here, you take that as well, and suddenly the siege situation is such that mAAd can't even step up to wave clear these purple minions.
I just want to say anywhere Stretfa goes is going to be immediately negated. You know, no chance. And wow, Castle goes way too deep. He tries to back out, but his death is secured, and Stretfa is unstoppable. Castle going a little bit far for that kill, I think.
And it's not even worth in terms of trying to buy time. Squip has teleport. Great, you forced him back to lane. He literally went back, picked up, what is that, a stopwatch? And he's right back in lane. That doesn't happen again on this push.
Oh, Shockwave is going to draw the Braum right back in. Has to flash away. That's going to zone out. Mega Inferno Bomb landing. Doesn't do as much damage as you expected, but the tower is down. The 4-on-4 fight. Showstopper is going to draw everyone in. And the triple out of nowhere. Wombo combo galore. Screw the last dragon. No one needs it. They have a Ziggs. The Demolition Master is going to tear through every single structure here. Oh, it's only Castle. Castle staying alive, but I don't think it's going to be for much longer. Depth charge to find him into an immediate command dissonance. And that is going to be Dragonclaw Cloud coming out with game number 1.
And that was not a Shockwave orbital. That was just dissonance hitting them under the turret at the end. It felt like a Shockwave. Like inside, I was screaming Shockwave, and I was checking cooldowns. Like, wait, no, that was how they started the fight, not how they ended it. It just really methodical play coming through from Dragonclaw Cloud here. You get Baron. They didn't even need the Inferno, so they just push in. And I think Mad City OG, they messed up a little bit at the end there, not respecting the damage that was coming out. I think they were kind of judging the poke damage and going, okay, we can take this. We're fine with this. Elated is kind of tanky, but he won't be able to dive. Well, you're wrong. They take the turret really quickly. And the satchel charge, you could see, definitely caught them off guard. They were still way too far up the turret. When you play against the Ziggs, you always have to remember 33%. That's your threshold. Rank 5 satchel charge will take a turret down from 33% to nothing. And then suddenly you're on open ground. You can get initiated on.
Yep. It was so well timed and so well played. So looking into game number 2, if you're looking on the Mad City OG side, what are you looking to change? How are you looking to change things up for game number 2?
Oh boy, here. I mean, the draft is okay. You could see what they wanted to do with it. They just couldn't quite get to that state. Their lanes were falling apart a little bit too quickly there. And I think it comes down partially to jungle pathing. I think the Graves did not have the effect it was quite meant to have here. Castle didn't play it poorly. It's just the problem was you weren't there at the top side when Inominat was getting kind of manhandled by that set. So I think if you want to continue picking this Gwen here, either you need to get Castle to be up there to defend a little bit better, or you pick a different jungler, one that might have a bit more early game strength, which can run toe-to-toe. Maybe something like Olaf. That's an early game jungler that was available, even though Shinsao, Diana, and Lee Sin were all banned away here. Or if you, again, I think that the Graves is acceptable. I just need to see a bit more early gameplay come out.
Yeah, this is almost a sense of Dragonclaw Cloud just playing a little bit better in some of those scenarios, and that's steamrolled into so much more for them. So very well done for game number 1. We will go ahead and take a short break. We will be right back with game number 2 to this series between Mad City OG and Dragonclaw Cloud. And we are back, of course, ready with some more League of Legends actions after that action-packed game number 1, which ended in Dragonclaw Cloud coming out with a very handed victory. They, from start to finish, felt like they were in complete control of the game.
Yeah, I think in pretty much all their lanes, they were, as you mentioned, in control. Elita dominated the top side. Stredfa didn't necessarily suppress the Lulu, but got a bit of a farm advantage. And in that bot side as well, it never really felt like the Ash Brom got the prio that they wanted to have. And going into game 2 here, Orbital, between these two teams, we talked a bit about draft wise what we want to see different from Mad City. But I also want to see just more proactivity coming out. If you're going to pick that Ash, I want more arrows thrown out, right? Like the cooldown on that's what 60 seconds at rank 3. I think it's what 90 seconds at rank 1 or 100 seconds at rank 1. Just chuck them out. What do you got to lose, right? Try and make a play somewhere here. And even if it's not the Ash, just somebody try and make something happen. Don't just get picked off because Dragonclaw was proactive and that's how they were finding so much action on the Rift.
And not just that, I mean, when you have a Lulu mid, you have to make action happen with the jungle, right? As soon as you
Yeah.
lock in a mid lane Lulu, that's all that happens. Your mid laner is effectively a second support. If you are not proactive, you do not get to utilize that advantage of a that a double support grants you throughout the early and mid game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, by the time towards the end game, sure. I mean, the Lulu did still have impact, but like we said, the Graves we didn't see impact from, right? We didn't see not jump, pardon me, Castle really find anything here, and it's a bit of a balance. It is a team game, right? Your jungle and your mid often have to work together to try and find the advantages. Jumper and Sherpa looked like a great example of that. I mean, Sherpa ended 10-0, but it wasn't just off Orianna dominating the lane. It was a lot of it picking up kills, in those 2v2 skirmishes.
Yeah, and we'll see what they decide to do. Again, we are getting into that second game draft, and of course, we already see some swap ups here. LeBlanc and Karma are still the same, but forfeiting the Xin Zhao ban and the Lee Sin ban, they have opted to ban out the Gwen from Dragonclaw, saying that was still a menace to deal with, and then the Viego on the other side. So Mad City OG giving a lot of respect over to DC Jumper.
Yeah, and if you take usually if you give a Gwen, the other person takes Viego and vice versa here. So for the side of Dragonclaw, you know what? They take the Gwen and they leave the Shinzao open because the blue side, they first pick it here. And it was really up to Mad City to bat it, but Mad City wanted to remove that Ziggs, which was so impactful last game here, able to stall things out. Now, Mad City hovering this Lee Sin pick. Lee Sin still can flex around two different lanes. Yes, he did get nerfed a little bit, but that's more on scaling for Lee Sin. The early part of the lane is going to be perfectly fine here. And frankly, Lee Sin into Xin Zhao is not that good a matchup here. So if they are sending the Lee Sin to jungle, I'm not expecting to see, you know, dueling between the two junglers here. I think the Castle will be taking that Lee Sin and looking to gank lanes instead.
And it's so weird to hear that Lee Sin is now not a dueling jungler style, right? Like that there is a champion that is able to out-duel the Lee Sin in the jungle that, you know, a couple years ago was never thought of. But of course, we are moving in to that second set of picks for Dragonclaw Cloud. They are going to go with the Aphelios. So saying, look, we did a little APC last time. Let's do ADC, right? Let's bring RMC. They know it's you. They know it's you.
Are they? Okay, you know what? I am worried about this pick right here. Thresh Draven isn't necessarily the best bot duo together, but there's kill threat normally, not into a Lulu. This is very risky to pick a Draven into a Lulu. She polymorphs you and suddenly you don't do anything. Oh, they did it. They did it, Orbital. I am very mixed feelings, like I said. I love Draven. I love Draven. There's so much action. And into an Aphelios as well, feels like you can definitely kill him. It's just going to be this Lulu here. And I don't want to see that Lulu ever try and face tank anything for this Aphelios here. If the death sentence comes out, you get behind your AD carry. Because if you get hit as the Lulu, you're guaranteed to die. Aphelios, on the other hand, if he gets hit, as long as the Lulu's there, you can still stop some of that damage coming in. You can shield the Aphelios. You can polymorph the Draven. You can slow them down. You have options.
Options are there, but the option is not for Camille, as Mad City OGs say, nope, we don't want to deal with her in the top side. Of course, Dragonclaw Cloud still lose their 2 second-round bans. They will not be able to ban out any other options. So as we get the last set, I want to ask, what would Dragonclaw Cloud hope to ban away? What do you think they would have banned if they had that chance?
Ooh, that's a bit of a tough one here because they won game 1 so handily. It doesn't feel like they need to ban anything particularly out here. And what felt like it really worked for Mad City in game 1 was that Lulu. They've already kind of, or was the Ashe Braum Lulu sort of trifecta there, but they've already taken away the Lulu. You know that they've selected the bot lane. So depends on what they want to pick here. They're still looking potentially at the solo lanes. Lulu can still flex mid to help the Shinsa. I don't know if you necessarily want to do that. But, you know, I think if anything, it depends on what their matchup is, if they wanted to, what they want to pick for their solo lanes, really.
We'll go ahead and see it that last time tick down. And immediately the hover of Renekton and the lock in. Normally we do see Renektons picked up, but they're primarily counter-picked. They are not blind-picked, as that leads itself to some sticky situations. So we'll see if Mad City OG have the strength to pull it off.
Yeah, and I will say for Renekton here, I do think that is it depends sort of regionally where you are. In NA, we don't see the blind Renekton quite as much, but like in the LPL, LCK, they will B1 or they will R1 the crap out of Renekton because he can get flexed mid or top lane here. So your opponents have to kind of make unfavorable matchups both ways so that you can't do that. Now, I'm trying to check the champion pools here for Inominat as well as Mark Boots to see which one plays. It looks like it's probably going to be a top lane Renekton coming through here. And they do lock in the Braum. So that is not a Lulu support. Braum into Draven, also not a bad matchup here. And instead, it looks like they're going to try and once again go for that mid-jungle duo that we saw to such great effect in game 1.
They're going to go for it. And I think the Xin Zhao synergizes a bit more, but the hovers are coming through. If this Kiana is locked in, I do reserve some doubts, and I like the Echo Hover a little bit more, but we'll see. Again, jumping around quite a few times with a couple different champions, and you are having to face a potential mAAd, so that will be the Rise coming out here. I like this a bit more. We talked about the fact that needed a bit more action. Rise is one of the best champions to do that with if you want some early aggression.
Yeah, I like this a lot more here. I was looking at the assassin picks. I'm going, you're going full physical damage against this composition. That feels kind of dicey at best. And then even if you do go with something like the Echo, my concern is who are you running it into? You're running it into the Lulu here. And Lulu, like we said, is a lane bully. Not only is she a lane bully, but she's also in general just good against assassins, right? When you lane against this assassin, it's less about winning the lane and more just about making sure they don't get kills. They don't get to start snowballing here. So the Rise pickup, much, much better. You can wave clear very effectively into the Lulu. You don't have to interact with them. And the ganks coming in from Xin Zhao will not be so easy either. You just root him up, walk away, and you're nice and safe mid lane.
Yep, it's just a nice, easy movement through there. But taking a look at some of these, I just want to point out a little bit of the salt shaker that got thrown down, right? You take a look, it was the Lulu Braum locked in. Feels a little disrespectful, especially since the Aphelios Braum is one that is seen as maybe not so synergistic. What do you think of this lane matchup, and how do you feel it stacks up against Mad City OG's side?
So I actually think Aphelios Braum, they're not inherently synergistic, but it is a very good duo because Braum is sort of the premier defensive tank. We see Thresh a lot more just because he offers more utility and more safety with that lantern. But if you're just going to be standing and fighting there, no one is more comfortable in front of your AD carry than that Braum just soaking everything up. So in the team fights, there's a lot to be said for this combo and the fact that Aphelios can just take over the entire fight. There's not a lot of threat onto him with the Braum. But in lane as well here, it's good into the Thresh, generally speaking, because the death sentence comes up. And I said that if you're the Lulu, you hide behind your AD carry. You do not tank any of that. On the other hand, Braum is the literal opposite. You eat those all day long, and you'll be happy eating them. Thresh, if he does take that death sentence into you, is asking for trouble. You can tag him up, you can slow him. And again, your shields nullify a lot of what Draven brings to the table in terms of immediate damage. Yes, it's still going to hurt, but it's going to hurt a lot less. And potentially, depending on what guns we do see, up and available for Aphelios at any given time, you can win that trade. The Ashe Braum lane also at the slows going for them with Gravitum for Aphelios. That is also an option. So I do like it in terms of how they're going to be able to farm up and in terms of setting up the lane for potential ganks from DC Jumper here.
Yep, just setting that up. And so let's do a hard shift over to the other side. The one that definitely needs the win here, if they want to push the series 2-3, no team has so far been able to push a Dragonclaw Cloud into a game number 3. They have not dropped a single game. Maybe there are some close ones in the past. Do you feel this is a composition that gives Mad City OG the best chance of doing that? Or do you think it's more about that comfort, going back to what you like for Mad City OG to kind of test out?
I think it gives them a better chance than what we saw in game 1 here, Orbital. Game 1, it really felt like they kind of just sat back and let the game happen to them. They had a composition that kind of wanted to skill up into the mid game before it really came online. This time, you pick a Renekton, you pick a Draven. You're not picking for mid and late game. You're picking for the early game here. Yeah, sure, you've got a Rise. That's nice, right? Like, that is your late game insurance, but that's not why you picked it. And not to mention, Rise does chunk a lot earlier than people think. You don't have to wait for 20 minutes, right? Like, on one completed item, even on 2 half items here, tier plus maybe a lost chapter, you're already going to hit for quite a bit here. And you combine that with the Lee Sin, the mix of magical and physical damage along with the gank setup from that route. And there is kill threat in every single lane here. It's just that Castle, I feel like, has to be there to make it happen. So I want to see Castle making moves early here. Don't sit back. Don't farm this. Well, or just don't just farm. Go farm some champions instead. You're on a Lee Sin here. You really want to get the ball rolling. And like we said, you don't want to duel that Xin Zhao anyways. You're not trying to race against him. Go to wherever he's not at. So maybe early invades potentially coming through, early deep wards to be able to track where the junglers are going.
Yep. Just a couple thoughts moving in. Of course, Castle, we have the opportunities laid out for you. Let's see which one you pick. We'll go ahead, go to a very short break, ensure some quality broadcast performance for you. And we'll be right back with game number 2 between Dragonclaw Cloud and Mad City OG. back with game number 2, going live and having a blast here. And, you know, of all people, Jumper, probably ecstatic so far, 1-0 in this series. And of course, you know, on the birthday date as well, might as well go out with a bang.
I mean, you say we're having a blast. You say you go out with a bang, but Ziggs got banned by Mad City here, Rosso. Sadly, won't quite see the same explosions unless Infernum, Aphelios, maybe.
Just watching the moon, the ultimate come down is just ridiculous with that. It's a blossom of fireworks that results in immediate death, or it used to, at least until they nerfed it. And then it's just like, it takes about 3/4, which is still pretty bad. Top lane, though, we didn't really touch on it. I think we touched on it a little bit, of course, but the Mordekaiser are coming out as the counter pick to the Renekton, which sometimes we do see a Bramble come out, I think, on the Mordekaiser as the first item, depending on how the match goes. But still, I think it's a pretty solid counter pick.
Yeah, my only concern with this particular pick, the Mordekaiser, is it doesn't super synergize with the rest of the team. And usually one of the reasons why you pick Mordekaiser as well is to isolate a single target, whether it be a key damage dealer or else, you know, maybe something that really ties the entire composition together. And when you look over at Mad City here, who's he going to drag to the Death Realm with him? If you take the Renekton, well, that's just your top lane. Great. I mean, Renekton will probably survive it. Same thing with Castle. Against the Rise, against the Draven, it's kind of dicey. As they scale up, they actually might be able to toe mid lane. Early gank coming up from Jumper here. And whoo boy, I got lulled into complacency. I was like, oh, first game, they full cleared. This game, no, they just jumped right into it.
We had like a 4-minute first blood last time. What's to say we didn't get a 2-minute this time, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on. We got to give these teams some credit, especially to Dragonclaw Cloud. They do not play a slow, even tempo. It is aggression right off the bat. And honestly, I really like it because when you see aggression from one team, whether you like it or not, the enemy team is going to fall into that same state of almost mixed chaos.
Yeah, I mean, usually that's what we see here, depending on how things go and how disciplined the team is. Last game, certainly, Mad City fell into the pace, into the tempo of Dragonclaws. Now, we do know that there's a ward on the Raptor pit. It was pinged out as well. So notice Castle not taking the Raptors, going down instead here. We'll be able to back up this Draven Thresh lane, which is currently crashing the wave into the turret. And more importantly, for the side of Dragonclaw, they don't know where Castle is.
He has been very quiet, but a hook on the bot side is very nice for Blueberry and Jiggity. Look at the damage going down, though. Heavy hits from Jiggity and Blueberry. They go ahead and pretty much win that bottom lane.
Yeah, wouldn't have happened if that was a Lulu support, but I digress here. And that is one of the things that you do have to watch out for, this bit of a, shall we call it a birthday cake lane down here. I just realized the skin on the Braum is some sort of pastry, and we talked about the Infernum, but they do have to be careful early. When you farm up, yes, you can handle them, but it also depends on what guns you're running. And right now, with Severum and Calibrum here, I believe, the long-range sniper rifle and the healing, the lifesteal gun, that's not the guns you want to go toe-to-toe against a Draven with.
Well, they are going to be forced into it as we see another set of hooks land. And so far, Jiggity and Blueberry have made this bottom lane work. We did say it was going to draw some attention here to the bot side. And Castle looks like he is setting up a gank.
Yeah, potentially a dive here. I mean, they are kind of low. It's a little bit risky into the Braum, and heal and exhaust are both available. But Zubul, mid lane though, DC Jumper once again here.
Yep, might as well. Mark Boots is going to get tagged and is killed. Unfortunately, Strefa is the one to pick it up. You kind of want that on Jumper. Now we're going to see the bot lane be connected. That is the flame gun coming out, spitting out some hot bars. Going to go ahead and allow Squip to zone out Jiggity and Blueberry. And Castle is going to walk up to try and push Squip and Lucky Fam off the tower.
Yeah, and Lucky Fam did get very lucky there that the Sonic Blow did not land from Castle there. That would have been an insta-dive, insta-kill as well. But the Infernum, the wave clear right now is so strong, and you can see that Mad is struggling. They are taking little bits of chip damage as well from this flamethrower here. And Squip, Lucky Fam, they managed to tide off this disaster, and we're seeing them, you know, go back. They have to. They're kind of low. You don't want to stick around and get dove.
I'm not sure if they know for a fact if Squip has his heal, but that could always be a scary point, right? The fact that Squip still has it up. Hook is going to be dodged. That's going to be a nice out. And that allows Lucky Fam a little bit of time to come back to lane. So for all of Blueberry and Jiggity's work, they really don't gain that much except a slight 15 CS advantage.
Yeah, that CS advantage is significant. And once again, Draven's passive means that he's stacking all this gold passively as well. When he finally gets his first kill, that's when things are really going to explode here. And one of the ways you deal with that is you try and kill the Draven. We've seen Jumper look mid, sit mid multiple times here. I do think that looking down at this bot lane might not be a bad choice. If you can get the gank off, even if you don't get the kill here, you still get a chance to just go for that dragon, which once again is a Cloud Dragon to kick us off.
RMC, I think you and I are kind of unlucky in that. I think we've had Cloud Dragons for like the last few games that you and I have cast together. It's always been Cloud, which does mean that the later stage Dragons do get very, very interesting. It's almost always the Infernal or Ocean for us. But again, I love your point, and the fact that some of these ultimates are going to be that much crazier. The dominance and the top lane Realm of Death can be such game changers if you have that 12 extra ability haste.
Yeah, especially I feel like in this top lane where things are a bit dicier. Nominat winning out early, which you kind of need to do in the Renekton, but it's not a significant lead. And the Mordekaiser will outskill you here. So Elated also very happy with this isolated island where nobody's really shown up to. None of the junglers have looked at. And we said Castle needed to get some early ganks in. We've not seen that, and I feel like that timer is ticking here for Castle. You need to start looking for ganks. You just lost out Dragon as well, and while your lanes are doing A-okay here, you want them to be more than A-okay. You've got a Renekton, you've got a Draven, you've got the setups.
I mean, to say he didn't try, I think, is kind of putting him down. He did try on the bot side. We'll give him credit for that one attempt. It's the thing is I think Dragonclaw Cloud are just doing a great job of mitigating those chances, right? They do not step up that far, but this might be the only time. Flash is up, heal is as well. Nice little knock to the side, and they are going to get the kick. They do land it all, and the heal I don't think is going to be enough. Wait, are you serious? No, he does go down. The Ignite finally lands, but Elated is here. Now Anominate is going to go ahead and draw someone into the Death Realm. That is going to be the Dominance versus Death Realm. Elated is going to try and dance it out, but again, Field is out, has to flash away now, and is not going to be hit by the Sonic Wave, but Mark Boots wants some revenge. He sees DC Jumper. They are going to dive and kick backwards, but that's going to be the wild growth. What more can they get? That's going to be two. They come out so far ahead in this bottom lane engage. This could be the fight that Matt the OG are wanting. Lucky Fam is going to get sliced up, and Nominate is going to watch as a Realm Warp comes in, only roaming in Blueberry. They're going to dive. Castle is trying to get it down, and they might have dove too far. That's not what you want to have happen. And now Squip is back with the chakrams as well. He is going to chase them down. Thresh, the fight went on so long that Jiggity is back. I just want to point that out. Jiggity is back. He lands a hook now, and it's going to go in. Mark Boots is going to try it. This is the second engage, and they might have it. No, Squip picks it up. The chakrams are going to finish off Blueberry, though. That is going to be a chaotic mess on the bottom side. Overall, that is a 5 for 5. I think that is just total, though, as the ensuing battle left everyone stunned. It was a 4 for 5 in favor of Mad City OG.
If it had been just a 4 for 5 right now, Orbital, the goal difference wouldn't be that significant. But Blueberry, the entire time the fight was happening, I was just watching. Does Draven get a kill here? 3 times it was denied. Jiggity took away the first one. Your own support denying you. And Nominat picking them up. Castle picking them up. But Blueberry, I think they stayed around, and it was the right call. Because now he's ahead. Now this bot lane's in your favor. And Squip and Lucky Fam should theoretically be constantly shoved under their own turret. They should not get to play this lane out. Top side, though, DC Jumper does pick up the Herald. So that gold lead is only temporary. There are plates and there is a Herald, so Dragonclaws effectively got some extra gold in their pockets that's not showing right now.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait and see, because again, you only have another. Yeah, you have plenty of time to drop it down. It's just which lane are you going to drop it down in, right? You have one plate on the bottom side. That's about it. You can't really get a whole lot out of it. And again, the whole reason for that is, again, if you have that Rift Herald, you want to drop it on one of the towers that has the least because you get the most value, right? It's always going to take 2 plates. As you know, plates, as they fall, make the tower gain extra armor in the first 14 minutes. So the lower tower hit that you can get, as long as there are fewer plates, you get way more value out of that Rift Herald. So you can see already DC Jumper looking for this bottom side is going to clear out the Krugs. But I mean, if a gank opportunity sets itself up, we could definitely see a fight break out. That's going to be the hook.
Castle's here as well now.
Yeah, and they're going to go for it. Glacial Fissure is going to force a flash. Blueberry is going to have to jump out, but that's just a kill. Castle goes ahead and slaughters Braum. He's going to get right back out, and Squib is not going to be able to do too much else. This bottom lane going heavily in favor of mAAd City OG.
And I think at this point now for Jumper, if you look at the CS differential, right, in addition to the fact that Blueberry got the gold, there's about 700 gold difference in this bot lane. Maybe you don't gank the bot lane, certainly not alone here. You come with Stretfa in your back pocket if you're going to look down here. In fact, I'd actually like to see the Shinsao gank that mid lane once again. Blueberry gets rooted.
Yeah, and he doesn't have flash, so this might actually be the fight. But look at the kiting. It is too dang strong in the teleport. Calls him right off. Lucky Fam is here, but Marked Boots, again, he has the Realm Up and teleport. Why not use it just to keep his bottom lane safe?
And mAAd going to be more than happy with this. Yes, you burnt a teleport, but Dragon's coming up in 30 seconds. So establishing that dominance is extremely important. And right now you can see Stretfa's starting to lose control of the lane a little bit. You are a lane bully as Lulu, but Rise just kills so well.
Oh, the chunk is real. The Lulu's like, I didn't expect this damage. Give it a shot. That is a crit and a half. With some AP damage, Castle is looking real happy about this fight. Wild Growth is going to stall it out, but that's a huge ultimate to use right before the Drake.
Yeah, and not only is it a huge ultimate, Jumper and Stretfa just have to flat out base at this time. Sure, Stretfa has TP to get back in there, but Jumper's your jungler. He's the one who really needs to be there to contest it, and he's out. So mAAd get a free Infernal once again, and we're on to the Ocean Drake now, Orbital. We got fire last game. We're getting water this one.
And it's 2 ridiculously different map types. You love to see it, right? Infernal tends to open up a little bit of the jungle pathing, right? You have a few more avenues to access. With this Ocean Soul, you get a map that is so good for just guerrilla warfare, fighting in random locations that you would normally not think would be the appropriate spot, right? You have to be worried about Castle now. Castle is always going to have those opportunities, and you see the blast go and go over. I think it was checked. Yeah, there were some wards going down, so Castle won't get the gank off onto the tower, but at least gets the pressure.
Okay, so mAAd City right now, they're in the lead in terms of gold, in terms of tempo as well. The other one's making the moves here, but they do have to be careful not to get overconfident. We've seen the bot lane dives kind of go awry here. So I think pressure, good. Play through Blueberry, even better right now. This Draven is your strong side of the map. You can definitely make plays happen, but it has to be set up appropriately. And if you're going to dive, get the poke down. For the side of Dragonclaw, they might be a little bit behind, but they're okay. 2K at 13 minutes is a little bit rougher than what they'd want to see, but they do scale up. The Mordekaiser is already very comfortable going toe-to-toe with this Renekton here. Oh, Herald actually had to drop. They were pretty much about to time out here. Your mid-jungle duo, though, this is where things get a little bit weaker. Your Lulu is now behind a little bit from this Rise. You don't look there, and you certainly don't look bot. Your Aphelios is behind. Ace-Quip just wants to farm right now, and you want to give that Aphelios that farm. Wait for that 2-item power spike.
They are going to get at least 2 plates in the mid lane with the Rift Herald, so that is not a wasted Herald at all, which is nice to hear. However, that's all they get, right? Can't push it at all, can't put anyone else there. Topside elated. It feels bad for the Mordekaiser, but you look at the build path, not going to hit that mythic for a very long time, is opting for that Zhonya's early. And again, I will always be a personal fan of going the Bramble Vest on a Mordekaiser. I think it's a great item and it's hilarious. We are going to see a fight on the top side though. Realm of Death is dropped. And I don't know if Elated wants this. DC Jumper is here.
He does.
To bait it out, and it's going to be the damage hits, and yeah, going to jump straight in. Try and follow up, but that's going to be slice and dice to slow him down. The kick is there, and Nominate might get away. It is going to get popped open. Elated is going to survive, and the Conqueror stacks might be enough, but that is going to be the trade. 1 for 2 in the top side. DC Jumper picks it up, but not without a sacrifice.
know what? I don't know if we're going to see the full Zonias come out necessarily, but I think the Seeker's Arm Guard certainly helps in the lane and is helping with that TP down into the bot side here.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
Shredfa.
yeah, Jiggity has nothing available. Did have the flash and the ignite, but of course, really, why would you waste it? You know you're dead to rights. Stretfa goes ahead and comes in to help secure an assist.
And I wonder if they call the missing there because Mark Boots wasn't in lane. He was roaming up towards that top side, looking to see maybe I can pick something off the back end of this here. So he might not actually have been aware Stretfa was TPing, was leaving lane. And speaking of Mark Boots, DC Jumper coming back in again.
A rinse and repeat over and over again. Stretfa's just like, yeah, let's have some fun here. They're going to try and catch him. Oh, the wild growth. That is so mean. Mark Boots just wanted to get out. He just wanted to leave.
Nope, you don't get to leave here. That's a Xin Sao. He will run you down. Lulu doing her job as well. Really well played from Dragonclaw. Quick 1-2 punch there, and they get kills across the board in every single lane. And suddenly, you're neck to neck once again. Bot side, though, your turret's kind of low. Castle looking here.
Yeah, they're going to give it a shot, but another teleport on the box side. So Lucky Fam, they knew exactly what was going to happen, and Dragonclaw bait out the engage. In comes the draw. Jiggity's going to take it very low, but Castle just straight up solos him out on the back line. Says, no, you don't get an ADC to play with. A little bit of dance with the QW there. I don't think any more is going to happen. The Sonic Wave's landing over and over again. But my gosh, Dragonclaw tried their best to initiate that. They had the timing and everything, but the damage just wasn't there.
They just didn't have the ultimates up and available. Glacial Fissure wasn't there. Elated just used the Realm of Death top side. So again, didn't have it bot side there. And unfortunately for them, mAAd were ready, were able to do that. And I want to point out that Castle 100-0 Squip there. Squip was not low when they decided to turn that. It was Lucky Fam who got chunked on the initial chase down. So for the Aphelios, you have to be careful. You don't have the Thresh to get you out of the way here. If your Braum is kind of low, you don't have that bodyguard to save you.
Starting to become a little bit more difficult, but the driver's seat is still there. Castle has to hop right back out. Blueberry is going to go ahead and take a blue buff for himself. Can't give it over to Mark Boots as the dragon is up. This ocean dragon is so important, and it's just handed over, right? No reason to go for it. It is just one. It's not going to put them at soul point, but it is nice stacking, so the health is going to be regenerating for the side of Dragonclaw Cloud.
Yeah. Now, the individual ocean dragons restore missing health every 5 seconds, right? So it's nice, but it's not that broken feeling that you get in these extended fights. And judging by how the way the fights have gone, people are getting 100-0 here.
They're going to go ahead. That's the visual landing, and Blueberry gets rooted to follow up. Jiggity is finally going to fall, but can they get a little bit more castle? It's going to go in, but a nice crescent guard to knock him right back. DC Jumper providing so much body block potential, and that's not going to be his life. Castle is going to go down in the most unavoidable death. I say that, but it feels so bad. Castle almost had it, but just couldn't finish it off.
You say unavoidable, Orbital, but that was Lee Syndrome in full. He took the Q in. You're right. The moment he was in there, it was unavoidable. But he made the choice to go in. And you can't blame him, right? You think back to what happened bot side just like a couple minutes ago. You 100-0 Squip. The difference this time is that Lucky Fam was tanky enough, was not low, was able to body block everything. And not only did Lucky Fam manage to stop Castle from being able to get in there, not only did the Crescent Guard instantly kick him out, but Lucky Fam got a beautiful initiate, and I think it caught Mad City a little bit off guard. They were so used to being the ones to make the aggressive moves, they were only really watching Jumper in terms of, you know, okay, he's the engaged threat. They did not expect Lucky Fam to just Glacial Fissure, catch Blueberry and Jiggity there, and then just getting that follow-up. Blueberry didn't die, though, so there are still stacks stacking, and, you know, that next kill on that Draven, it's going to count for double, maybe even triple.
Just an amazing set of circumstances that had kind of fallen into Dragonclaw Cloud's hands, right? They were down for so long, and Blueberry was looking like he was going to scale up extremely fast. He is still looking very strong with a 60 CS lead over Squip, but that's negated by the fact that Squip has 4 kills over him, right? This game is starting to lean back in Dragonclaw Cloud's favor, and I dare say it's specifically by their own willpower, right? This squad, they gave up a few at the beginning. They have single-handedly dragged it back on their own, just straight up. Wasn't really anything that that Mad City OG could have done. It's just, it's been that kind of game.
Yeah, and it feels like when we look at wherever Jumper is, that's a strong point on the map. Squip and Lucky Fam might not win the 2v2 against Blueberry and Jiggity, but in a team fight, they feel like they're putting out more here. The one person I'm sort of missing here on Mad City has been Mark Boots. 0-3 and 3 hasn't been at a lot of these fights, but if we look at the turrets, it's actually in favor of Mad City, and a lot of that just has been Mark Boots split pushing somewhere else on the map, and Rise does kill. Everfrost is completed. We already said you only really need sort of the two components to start doing damage here. The moment that Archangel's Staff, that Serap's Embrace is completed here, I need to see Mark Boots in these fights because he's going to be their big damage dealer throughout these fights. Not Blueberry, not the one who's going to be kiting around trying to survive. It's going to be that Rise.
Yeah, Rise is going to be your sustain, and for some reason, Blueberry's your pop damage, your burst damage, right? That's really how it's turned into. ADC, nah, just assassin. That's how it goes. The Nominate is going to go ahead, try and chase everyone out of the jungle, but is immediately drawn right back to mid. They've zoned them out. They split them up very, very well. I think that works to their advantage. Castle finding out Squip on the side. Mid lane should fall. Yeah, the box is used early. They are going to jump in. That's two drawn back. Oh, this is going to hurt. Moonlight Vigil straight into the back line, only landing on one. But the root is there, and Squip, the one on your screen, is able to take a shutdown onto the Draven. The fight is going to continue. DC Jumper is going to go ahead and flash right into the back line and gets a wild growth. This is Dragonclaw Cloud clawing their way back into this game. They were behind for a little bit, and now they're closing that gold gap. They only get 2, but that's plenty enough to be able to force a possible Baron.
Yeah, they can just go for this right now. Mark Boots does have TP, but against 5, that is not safe for you. The only thing I think that Dragonclaw needs to do right now is set up the vision properly if they want to do this. They do have entrances to all the warded. They do have wards, pardon me, on all the entrances coming in, but they need to make sure the back of the pit, especially around that blast cone, does have full vision. And Orbital, I want to go back to how that fight started, right? It looks so good for Mad City. You had the inside track. The box looked great. So how did they get caught? They turned. And mAAd decided to go in with Blueberry there. And that's not ideal. I want to see the fight after Mark Boots pick up the Serap's Embrace, which is now completed. Not before. Now Mark Boots,
he is not going to have a fun time. Actually is able to get the Lantern to safety. But that's still his flash. You're talking about Mark Boots being one of the pivotal playmakers. He's not allowed to. This team is not allowing to. Anytime they see the Rise, they jump him, and Castle also getting jumped on. DC Jumper has 0 fear.
Okay, the vision's kind of odd here. There is vision in the pit for Dragonclaw, but not behind it. So they are playing a bit into Fog of War here. Keep vision on Squip here. Didn't know. Oh, okay, fight's already up.
Yeah, they're going to try, and Lucky Fam is actually going to get the Wild Growth. Stays alive, but Denominate is doing the same. That's going to be a kickback. Elated is doing a little bit of frontline business. He is still a little bit tanky, but the Dragon's the main focus. Who is going to get the Dragon? Everyone keep eyes on that down to 2,500. No one wants to give it a chance. One axe is there to make it to Squib. Squib takes out the Thresh. Thresh is down. That's going to be the Dragon healing up ever so slightly, but Nominate teleports right back in. It's going very low. That's going to be the wrong one going in, and Nominate's going to try, but he goes down. Dragon is taken by Castle, but the ensuing fight might not go their way. DC is going to go very, very low. That's going to be 2 taken back, 2 on 3, and that's the health bars. What is this, Mark Boots? What? You called it RMC. Mark Boots fires off. He is going to pop off like a maniac, and Strefa's going to dip, dash, and dodge, and eat a sonic wave to the face. Castle should be able to finish off. This should be the ace, but my gosh, out of nowhere, Mad City OG take the Dragon, and they take the kills.
Okay, first of all, let's address the Dragon, because that was not as if Matt managed to shove off Dragonclaw. That was sheer chaos. Castle snuck in and took it. Huge props to him for being able to deny that. If not, Dragonclaw's on soul point, and they threaten that the next time it's up, you have to fight them. But the fight as well. First of all, Squip building Collector instead of Runon's Hurricane, I think really came back to bite. The burst damage was good. We saw Jiggity get popped immediately, but in the sustained fight, it wasn't there. And we said that Blueberry is not necessarily their sustained damage. He built a very early Lord Dominic's. His job is to cut down Elated, cut down Jumper, especially after they've been wild growth. Mark Boots is your shotgun, which is melting your squishies. And that consistent damage just out-damaged Aphelios completely here. Dragonclaw need to play around this if this is their build. They're not looking for extended fights. Find your pick, back off, re-engage after cooldowns are up available, after you get some more poke down.
RMC, it's getting a little bit more ridiculous as we go. It terrifies me to think we are now in an even game. It was back and forth the entire time. First, it was Mad City OGs. Then it was a little bit into a this Dragonclaw Cloud group. And then it swung right back, right? We're right back to that 2K. And it feels it doesn't even matter. 2K, no one cares about it, right? It's all about, can you find Mark Boots? Or is DC Jumper going to run away with, you know, like those key playmakers are always going to be there. Now, Anominate, huge thing to remember, he now has QSS. He is not a target anymore for the Realm of Death.
But what he doesn't have right now, Orbital, is Teleport. And Elated gets the split push here, where Anominate has to be careful. If the Baron fight, starts up here, it's going to be a 5v4, and Anominate will not be able to get there. He burnt the teleport in the Dragon fight instead to get them that Dragon, to get them the win here. And we'll have to see if it does come back to bite them. I want to see Dragonclaw threaten this Baron, not necessarily do it. Jumper is tanky enough, and with the shields that Sherpa gives you here, you can sit on that Baron for quite a while before you have to back out if you're not actually doing it.
The dance might be made. The stage is set. The orchestra's not here just yet. Still waiting on all 10 pieces of that to come on by. But, I mean, one of them is happily banging away on the drums. Blueberry, you're seeing 554 on the crit. 2.5 items up and is stacking up very, very well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stacks. I do want to kind of check and see. Only sitting on 85. Did get knocked down twice, so hasn't been able to rack that up. But DC Jumper is going to look a little bit dangerous. In goes the Croc right over the wall. And this actually might be DC Jumper not having a good time. That's going to be the hook straight in, and that's going to be little bit of a follow-up. They are staying alive for a little bit longer than normal.
Elated's here.
Might be able to get away, but no. Elated is going to jump to the back line. Jiggity gets out. Mark Boots is going to be drawn in, and that's the smack. Bonk Whip dead. He is gone from the map, and that might be the call to go in. They just need to Mark Boots down, and the drawback, the claw from Elated, and that is going to be 4 members dead. Man, we were hyping up the fight, and it was outside of the Baron pit. That is going to be Dragonclaw Cloud taken 4 for 1. DC Jumper said, screw it, I'm going for the ace. A little bit of a trade and a kick right back out. DC Jumper said, listen, my dragon's stronger than your team. Jumper is just like, listen, I want the party. I want to party. I want to dance. He wants to kill so bad. He's taken 2 or 3 tower shots now. He actually walks in to the Sonic kick. Are you kidding me? Jumper, you can't do that to him.
He can, and he will. And his job was not to kill Castle. You're literally the last man standing. You're not scared of a smite steal if you can watch the jungle right there. So DC Jumper doesn't have to be there for the Baron. Your team's going to take it. His job is just to zone out Castle. And the way that fight started, I had questions. Where's the sustained damage coming from, right? Squip built the collector. Well, it's Elated. Demonic Embrace and Riftmaker, when he got in there, my goodness. And those nether grasps, the death's grasp, that claw which came out. He found 3 people the first time. He found 2 the second time. He was absolutely massive. Dragons coming up right here. And most of the ultimates for the team is available here. Realm Warp.
Ooh. Mark Boots just trying to get a little bit of positioning. If Lucky was out of position, that would have been the opportunity. Remember, Lucky, he's not as tanky as you would assume. That's the Dragon taking very low. Jumper's going to go over the wall. He is going to go. He gets a steal! Sin gets the steal. They're going to pull off this fight like crazy. And Dragons are going to run amok here. The claws raking through the health bars. And they shut it down 4 for 0. Double kill to Jumper, the birthday man on your screen, and it looks like Dragonclaw Cloud are gonna go for the kill.
Yeah, they've got Baron. They probably can't end the game here. The death timers aren't long enough, 30 seconds before everybody on Mad City's back up. But my goodness, you can push hard. They're trying to stop Mark Boots as well. DC Jumper, his kill score doesn't look amazing at 5-2 and 13, only because Stretfa's at 5-0 and 13, but he is doing his job here. He's not letting people recall. He's not letting people get in the way. And suddenly, after a couple of back-to-back fights here, Dragonclaw have pulled themselves significantly into the lead and regained control of the game, regained tempo here.
RMC, I think it has to be pointed out. Game 1, Stretfa was unkillable. Game 2, Stretfa is unkillable. Game 1, it was 10 kills in, 0 deaths. This one is 5-0-13. I mean, we got to give props, right? This mid lane player has shown that he can play both offensive and defensive to the best extent I think
Mhm.
I've seen so far, right? Just completely two different styles of gameplay, and yet able to pull it off seamlessly here. So very well done there. And we'll see if we can keep it up. Maybe I just jinxed him. I don't know yet. We will see. But again, had to be pointed out, and I just really wanted to highlight that because that's been such a key playmaker. Having the Lulu shields, having the wild growth up at optimal times has allowed Dragonclaw Cloud to consistently win these fights.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the junglers as well, the initiators, the fact that Jumper did go to that mid lane multiple times early. That was something we didn't see Castle do for Mark Boots when Mark Boots was on that Lulu here. So, it's a bit of you scratch my back, I'll scratch your situation here. And Dragonclaw are looking good. That's it. Mad City, they're not out of it yet. We've seen them play well, find fights as well. If they can play a proper front to back, let Mark Boots get the damage down and not have to spend half the fight running away, they can still turn this. And I'm watching for Castle here because Castle has been the one to start some of these fights off with that Dragon's Rage finding priority targets actually being found by Jumper instead here.
Castle went, yeah, we'll find this out. Oh, the knock is there.
Not
Castle
there.
not going to have a good time. He is immediately going to go in the safe.
No.
Can he get away? Is able to get the lantern to safety. But that is a 4-on-5, and they're just going to end the game. Look, 5 members under this tower. You have to look at the base. That is going to be Elated trying to hold him off. And Mark Boots is going to be the teleport. We have to keep eyes on it. Elated is going to go down. But on the top side, we do see a kill go through. That is Squip picking up one. Can they get a little bit more? DC Jumper is going to slow it down. And Dominant is going to be quite low. And they are going to complete the tower dive. They split Mad City OG right between the letters. And they take 3. Now they're going to go ahead, push in for the win. And this is potentially going to be the 2-0. Congratulations to Dragonclaw Cloud as they secure their 4th series win after a little bit of dancing here on the Fountain. They will secure their 4-0 at 8-0. Jiggity, you got to give it up, my man. You are not having a good time. That will be it. 31.5 minutes. Dragonclaw Cloud, very sorry, are going to go ahead and potentially secure 1st place in their UAL division.
There's no potential about it here, Orbital. It is realized. It is factual here. Dragonclaw Cloud, they're 8-0, undefeated, the only undefeated team in their division right now. And I do think it's a huge statement win that they beat Mad City OG, because we talked about the fact that Mad City OG are veterans. They've played multiple seasons of it here, and we've seen them play games. They are a very well, I don't want to call them stable. They are a fairly volatile team, but they do have what it takes to go very deep in playoffs here. So for Dragonclaw, despite their 1st season, it's huge for them to get these wins. And DC Jumper, happy birthday, my man, because what could be better than a 2-0 victory tonight on stream, no less. Your teammates have really put it in for you. But we talked about Jumper. We talked about Shredfa. I think my MVP for this match has to be Elated. Game 1 on that set, he bodied the Gwen, and that really set the whole tone for the match. This time on the Mordekaiser as well was absolutely huge. Yeah, Shredfa, DC Jumper, they got higher KP. Squip also doing a ton of damage in these fights, but Elated, when he shows up, the fight's done. And you can see that every time he got those beautiful flanks off, Mad City really struggled. Even in that last fight, sure, he wasn't there, so he didn't get KP, but he was the one who caused the split. He was the one who forced that Realm Warp, which then left Inominat and Blueberry stuck under a turret because there's a team was trying to stop this Mordekaiser from pushing, which, by the way, was unsuccessful.
Yeah, you can't put a price on the pressure you exert in a game, right? I think that's the lesson that we have learned here. However, everyone on the team stepped up, and we are seeing exactly why Dragonclaw Cloud are such a team to be feared. They are not a team that is, a one style only, the one strategy that they completely play through the bottom lane or completely play through mid. They are flexible, and that makes them all the more terrifying. So again, congratulations to them for their 2-0 victory. Mad City OG will have to try again next week to see if they can potentially secure a spot in the playoffs. I believe they only have one more chance to see if they can make it in. So we'll have to see how they do. But of course, that will be it for us here at the Upsurge Advanced League. Thanks you so much for tuning in. My name is Ordo. With me was Random Minion Caster, and on the production was Dom Cast. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, and have a fantastic evening.